Was AD just revealed? Maybe? Sort of? And one of those recent fan theories just came true. Let's break down Season 7, Episode 14 of Pretty Little Liars right here on What Happened. Hey, you lovely peeps, Sleazy here, and happy PLL Tuesday! At long last, these episodes are starting to pick up and answers are finally starting to roll in, yet also, I'm left a little bit more confused, but that's the typical PLL style, right? In this episode, we learn a few big things. We learn whose finger it was that was sent to the police station, who the real parents of Allie's baby are, and one liar may become a traitor. So let's get started. Let's kick things off with my least favorite character right now. Paige. Yes, she's still around. She reveals to Emily that she got a call for the assistant coaching job at the University of Iowa, and she thinks that she'd be stupid not to take it. Later on, Paige and Emily are talking in the locker room after school, and Paige reveals that she has to make a decision by the next day, and she thinks coming back to Rosewood was a mistake. Because basically, it's ended up being high school all over again, especially thanks to Allie. Well, unfortunately for us, Paige has decided to stay in Rosewood because she said she has to remember that she's not the only one with demons, and not facing hers would also be just like high school. The two then kiss, and you know, I want Emily to be happy, but just means I gotta tolerate Paige, I guess. But if Paige turns out to be evil and hurt Emily, I know there's AD theories out there about her. Moving on to Spencer and Hanna. These two team up on a mission to find Mary Drake. Spencer's dad has returned home, and Spencer gets it out of her dad that he didn't return home sooner because he was searching for Mary, and he's hired a private investigator to help track her down. Oh, and all this is after Spencer has had some sexy time with Marco. Just felt like I needed to throw that in. Also, was that Marco's watch that Spencer was looking for under the bed? Moving on to the important stuff, though. Hanna finds the business card Spencer took from her dad with the PI's number on it, so she decides to call for details on Mary, kind of against Spencer's wishes. The private investigator tells them that there's a neighborhood they think Mary is hiding out in, so the two have been knocking on doors, and lo and behold, whose door does Hanna actually knock on? Pastor Ted. Yeah, remember him? I kind of forgot about him. Well, it looks like Iggy's come to join me. Hello, little doggy. Yeah, I feel like it's just another random character that we now have to try to figure out how he fits into this whole puzzle. Now, Ted says he hasn't seen Mary, but he says, you know, him and Hanna should keep in touch. And when the girls leave, we actually see Mary Drake peer out the door. Yep, so how on earth are these two characters connected? Here's where it starts to get a little crazy. Ted shows up to Hanna's later to drop some major bombs. Turns out Ted dated Mary in college, and one day she just disappeared. After Hanna and Spencer left his house earlier in the day, he asked Mary why she really came to see him, and well, it turns out that Charlotte is Ted and Mary's kid. Yeah, I was kind of like, huh? Too. I feel like this was just such a random way to put these people together. Ted pulls out a picture from camp where he was a counselor and Charles was a camper when he was younger, and Ted is like, I had no idea that this was my kid the whole time. And in the picture, there's another younger, dark-haired kid, and Hannah's like, who is that? And Ted goes, oh, that was Charles's only friend, Lucas. Dun dun dun. Yeah, that Lucas, the one that Hanna has been trusting for so long, who owns the place where she's living, who she's going into business with. Yeah. What does Lucas really know, and how is he connected to this whole twisted thing? The last part of this Mary Drake story is that Spencer confronts her dad again, and he says that the last time he saw Mary was when Spencer got out of rehab. She was sneaking around their house, and he thought she was Jessica, but she told him that she just wanted to get a look at Spencer, but Mr. Hastings says that Mary killed Jessica and tried to frame him for the murder. So now she's kind of out for revenge. That must be why she's laying low from him, right? Alright, when it comes to Aria, Ezra, and Nicole, we last left them in the episode with Nicole sitting in Ezra's apartment in the dark, scaring the shit out of Aria. Well, it turns out Nicole didn't want to stay at the clinic, so she ran away to the last place she called home, which was Ezra's. Aria plays it off the whole time like she's fine, and everything's gonna be okay, and Ezra's just like, I'm so sorry, I love you. But Aria's like, maybe you should tell Nicole about us because she's sleeping upstairs. There's pictures of me all over this apartment. My clothes are upstairs. She's gonna have questions. Unfortunately for her, Nicole's therapist told Ezra not to tell her about the whole engagement and everything, and then the show just starts to turn into a drinking game every time Ezra says, I'm sorry, or so sorry, or I love you. Eventually, Nicole's parents do come to get her, but not before she's found and read Ezra's book, and she left him a note on one of the pages about how that memory helped keep her alive, but Ezra stops Aria from reading that whole note. Okay, before I finish with Aria's storyline though, because it gets pretty juicy in this episode, I'm going to move on to Alison. The game is trying to decide between Aria and Alison as to whose turn it will be to play, and it ultimately picks Alison. Before she has to play the game, though, Alison reveals to Emily that she's made an appointment to get an abortion, and Emily offers to go with her. Marco then shows up at school to inform Alison that the finger that he received was in fact Archer Dunhill's, not Mrs. D's like some of us thought, and that they know that the finger was detached from a body that was already decomposing, so now the case is turned into a homicide. The game has now chosen Alison, and it sent her some coordinates on the phone of a mystery location. Aria offers to go with her, and also the next day at school, Paige ends up finding about Alison's abortion appointment, and Alison's not too thrilled about that. Aria and Alison end up at the Darling Duck baby store when Aria gets a text, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but she ends up ditching Alison. Inside the store, the clerk already knows who she is and hands her a scanner saying "we were waiting for you" and tells her to go start her registry, and the game tells her she must choose 10 items. Afterwards, the clerk says, "Oh, and don't forget, the gift you called ahead for, here it is, it's a personalized gift for your egg donor." Alison's confused, and the necklace she pulls out of the bag basically confirms a recent fan theory that an Emerson baby is on the way, technically. The necklace that Alison pulls out of the bag says Emily, which means that someone planted Emily's stolen eggs into Alison. Crazy, right? Yeah, this show just keeps getting more twisted and twisted. Alison starts to freak out and seems like she's having a panic attack. In the store, she demands from the clerk to know where the puzzle piece is, but the clerk's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." But as she's walking out, she looks up and sees the puzzle piece hanging as part of a mobile on the ceiling, and it's like, I have no clue how she saw that, especially in this kind of dizzy, freaked out state that she's in. Alison ends up telling Emily and the rest of the girls what's happened, and then she also calls to cancel her appointment, and then Alison places her piece on the game board. But here's the thing that I'm wondering. Who actually fertilized Emily's egg before implanting it into Alison? Because Alison says she does actually remember the procedure, but Archer wasn't there. So who is the father AD chose for this baby? Now let's go back to Aria. Sneaky, dark little Aria, who might be going over to that dark side. After a video chat with Alison, Aria gets a video chat request from block number, and when she answers it, it's AD with a voice changer, who is showing the file of hers that's from Mrs. De Laurentiis' cellar, and the hooded figure says that if Ezra knew what was in that file, he'd definitely choose Nicole, but she'd be visiting him in jail. Aria, now pissed, doesn't want to play this game and throws her piece across the room. When Aria ditches Alison at the baby store, it's because she received another block call from AD, and AD is like, "You knocked your piece off the game, do you want to lose?" And Aria says that she wants out, and then AD wants to meet her and texts her a location. At the location, Aria gets into a limo, and who is there? Sydney, who we all knew was up to no good because Emily had been tracking her, but of course, Sydney found that tracker in her bag and left it on a Greyhound bus on the way to Pittsburgh. Anyway, Sydney is trying to pass it off like she's AD, and Aria's like, "So you shot Spencer, helped Jenna escape, and made up this game?" And Sydney's just like, "Yes." And then Aria's like, "Well, why? Because you barely know me." And Sydney just says it has nothing to do with Jenna, and she's only letting Aria see her, really, because Aria's so desperate, and AD right now could use desperate. As Sydney's talking to her, Aria notices an earpiece that seems to give it away that Sydney isn't actually AD, it's all a ruse, she's just still one of AD's minions. Now Sydney tells Aria that she can still change sides, and even meeting with her has helped earn some of AD's trust, but there's still a long road ahead, and Aria will ultimately have to make a decision. As the girls are all around the game board and Alison places her piece on the board, Aria finally shows up late, and of course all the girls are a little suspicious, and we're like, "Where the hell were you?" They fill her in on the whole baby situation, and now they all assume it's Aria's turn to play the game next, so they're just gonna have to wait and see how everything is gonna play out. Much to the delight of Aria, although she can't really show it, the game goes off and starts shuffling through pictures on the phone of the 5 girls. Now this is to indicate whose turn is next, and it ends up landing on Hanna, who immediately starts freaking out again because she doesn't want to play this game again because she messed up her turn and it's already ruined her life, so how's it gonna mess up her life even more? Aria is playing dumb and's like, I don't know how this happened, and then Alison says that the game knows exactly what it's doing, and I feel like at this point, Allie kind of gives Aria a look like she knows something shady is up. As the other girls end up walking out of the room, we end the episode with Aria getting another text from AD saying, did you make a decision yet? So this episode, I'm finally gonna admit that I am actually happy. I feel like things are starting to happen. Although, like I said earlier, it's starting to get kind of confusing again too. We now know that Lucas is connected to Charlotte, which I don't think we knew before. I don't know, it's kind of hard to keep track with this whole show. Mary is alive and hiding out, but does she really want revenge on Mr. Hastings and that family? And did she actually kill Jessica and try to frame him? We know Alison is carrying Emily's baby, but ultimately who is the father? And is Aria really thinking about betraying the other liars? And will she? I'm kind of excited because deep in, in the back of my mind, there's always been this little glimpse of hope that Aria had something to do with AD, even though I feel like it can't be one of the girls, right? But I want it to be one of the girls. The promo for the next episode definitely seems to think that Aria is going to pull an ultimate betrayal.
It's brilliant. It's beautiful.
My turn is next. We have to shut this thing down.
Every theory that I can come up with keeps circling back to you.
One liar's about to lose.
Do you think that we could keep this between us?
And Aria
Why are you doing this? What do you think you'll get out of it?
will betray everyone to win. Directed by Troy and Belisario.
Yes, okay, so I like this preview because once again it seems like the season is finally chugging along. And also, Ren is back. Is he gonna be evil though? That's what I'm a little worried about. Also, is Marco actually on to Spencer, or is this maybe some kind of dream sequence? Mona meets the game and she seems pretty excited about it, and yes, Aria will betray the girls, but how? As it says that she ultimately wants to win the game, but will she? This episode is also directed by Troy and Belisario, which I am excited about. The bad news is though, it doesn't air for 2 weeks, so we just have to sit and stew on all this new information until then. So, who do you think AD is and how is Cindy really tied to them? Why does AD trust Aria of all the girls to come to the dark side? What's her connection to maybe AD? Do some of you still think that Paige could be AD and maybe the whole University of Iowa thing was just to throw us off? I need you to sound off in the comments below or hit me up on socials because I'm gonna be honest, I'm still confused and have no idea who AD is. Yeah, the show's just got me beyond confused. Also, are you happy that these episodes finally seem to be moving along? After that, you can click right over here to get the latest details on Season 2 of 13 Reasons Why, or check out a sneak peek of Maze Runner: The Death Cure. Don't forget to subscribe if you like what you see, and as always, I'm Lisa. Thanks for hanging out with me on What Happened. See you soon!